It's Will from SRT Amplification, and today we have on the bench a Heathkit signal tracer. It's model T3. Okay, this is visual and aural, not to be confused with oral, meaning of the mouth, but aural meaning of the eyes, or of the of the ears. So visual indicator is this magic eye tube here, and then your what I would call your sound indicator, or audible indicator, is the speaker right here. So anyway, I got this thing at a really good price online. It's got a lot of things wrong with it. In this video, we're going to tear this thing down and look on the inside and see what all needs to be done with it. And then I'll do a restoration video on it and post that as well. We're going to make some modifications to this. Mr. Carlson has a very good video on a restoration of one of these, and he goes through all the functions, including the watt meter function and the transformer function and the noise function and everything. So I'll put a link to that in the description below, and I highly recommend that you watch that video, because that is a very detailed video of this particular thing, this device here. They made these, I believe this was probably right around the late 60s, early 70s, this model. They made a T2, I know, prior to this, that didn't have all the bells and whistles. It was a little bit different. Right around the same time, there were other manufacturers that were making signal tracers just like this. Got the same exact circuit in it, but the layout's different. Like the ICO 147 Alpha, I believe it was, is exact same circuit. It does all the exact same functions. The layout's different, and it looks different, on the face, but it's exactly the same thing. Knight had one that was a little bit different than both of those, but all of these were kits. At least I think all the Heathkit ones were kits. I think ICO, you could probably get it as a kit or fully manufactured, and maybe the same way with the Knights as well. You could get them fully manufactured, but this one was definitely a kit, more than likely. I don't know that they made these already put together, pre-assembled, but maybe they did. But I can tell you right away, this thing's going to need some work. Let me zoom in here. I'll just move look at this cord. Oh my goodness, it is toast. So it's definitely going to need replaced. It's bad all the way down. And one thing that I've seen, there's a lot of videos on this particular model and the ICO 147 Alpha and even the Knight on YouTube. So I'm not really going to get into all the functions and stuff of this. I'll probably show another video where I've restored this and what all I had to do with the modifications, but that's about it. But we are going to look at this one today and see what it looks like on the inside. But there's several of these I've seen online had transformer leakage problems, and the primary or the secondary or both would leak to, probably the primary would leak to the chassis. So even if you had the polarity right on this, you would still get leakage on the chassis. And so what I'm going to do is put a 3-prong plug on this, a 3-prong power cord, and hopefully that isolates that and puts the chassis to ground potential, so that if I'm working on this thing and I go over here and touch this, I don't shock myself. I've seen some videos where people actually get a shock sensation a little bit because of leakage that way on these particular models right here, and on the ICO 147s as well. So like I said, they're basically the same. I think all the parts and everything internally is all identical. Um, One thing, this mic uh, plug here connection, I'm probably going to change that out to a BNC. I'll probably leave the audio as a 1/4 inch jack because, I mean, 1/4 inch jack's a very, that's a very common audio media. So I'll probably use that, but I'll probably put the RF connector as a BNC connector. Then I'll have to build an RF probe. In the manual for this, there's a schematic on what needs to go in that probe. It's a little, believe it or not, the this is a really high gain stage here. It goes through another whole gain stage than the audio does. So when you move it over here to high gain on, which is this position right here, um, it's going through a whole nother gain stage, a whole nother tube. I believe it's a 6SN7 out. We'll see when we get in here. But so um, the the probe though needs to be it needs to modulate the RF out, right? So it needs to filter the RF out. So you're only amplifying the audio when it gets in here. So there's some components you have to put in there to build this probe. But we'll in the next video, I'll already have that probe built, and I already have that BNC modification on there. So we can see that. Let's see how to tear into this thing. And you can see on the outside here, it's got some bent terminal posts. So we'll have to see about fixing that. Um, the knobs are functioning, switches functioning, switches. Oh, that one's kind of, yeah. So this is going to take some restoration for sure. Um, Hopefully the iTube works. Like I said, I'm not going to be powering it up in this video because, well, you see. But once I get it up, let's go ahead and take this back off here. So it's just two straight lug screws or straight head screws here. And we'll see how this thing looks inside. Okay, so those two screws, and then this back should come out. Maybe I have to take the knob off. Nope, there it goes. There we go. And you know what? Right now, I'm just gonna clip that cord right off. So, yeah, this thing's coming off right now. Okay, I'm just gonna clip this thing right off there. There you go. And there's no use for that whatsoever. I mean, there's nothing in there that I could even salvage at all. It's just toast. So that's going right in the garbage. All right, so now we take this off. Very easy. See what we got inside here. All right. So was I right about that tube? I think I was. No, it's a 12A or 12A6. Oh, that's the final. So wait a minute. Okay, so that the very first tube that it comes to for the RF is a VT153. Okay. I'm gonna have to look at the schematic on this thing. The signal comes into the top. So this top cap right here is the grid cap. Okay. So, and then the second tube is a 12SH7. So your audio goes straight into this tube. Your RF goes into this one first, and then into this one, and then here's your final power stage here, your power amplification stage. Okay. So it's a Here's your output transformer right up here for your speaker. This is your transformer for your watt meter. Okay. And this is obviously your power supply transformer. So down here we should have some power supply filters and everything. Let's see. This looks all original to me. Like I said, I really need to get the schematic out for this because it's been a while since I looked at it. So you got your tube here. Like I said, hopefully this works. This thing's just flapping in the breeze. Look at that. It came out of the retaining clip. Okay. There we go. That's back in there. Okay. So I thought this thing had well, I'm not seeing where so it comes in there. Oh, okay. Woo! So I was going nuts, man, because I didn't see the rectifier tube over here. So then I thought, okay, well maybe there's solid state diodes down underneath. But here's the rectifier tube right here. I was like, how is this thing rectifying the AC voltage? This is a 6x5. Okay. 6x5. I'll have to look up the tube data on that. 6x5. So coming from our transformer here, it goes right over here to the 6x5. It gets rectified. All right. So you got a bunch of wax caps in here. This one's electrolytic. The dry electrolytic capacitor right here. I'm not sure what it's going. It looks like it's going. It looks like a bypass cap from cathode to ground. That's what that looks like. But anyway, this thing is a mess, isn't it? So some of the things I'm going to do to it is actually get it all cleaned up. It's got a bunch of spider webs and stuff. I'm going to check all the components, probably replace all of these caps. So there's a cap coming right into this on the input of this, which is good. No cap on the audio side, but you got the cap on the RF side, couple. Which this is a really high gain, so yeah. I'll check all the tubes. The filter caps are probably going to have to be replaced. I doubt and I think this is actually socketed. I don't know if it's going to come out, but I think this is a socketed type of capacitor. Maybe not. No, I guess not. No. Those tabs just aren't twisted at all, so there's a lot of looseness. They didn't twist those tabs on there at all. Look at that. And this thing's just flapping in the wind. So I'll probably leave this here, but I'll put some caps underneath it. I'm not going to spend the money to get a new can cap. It looks like 2 20s at 450 and 2 10s at 450. So I've got all that on stock. There's plenty of room down here, especially once I get a lot of these old caps out. There'll be plenty of room to put those filter caps. And then we'll check it. If everything works, I guess the only thing that's gonna slow us down is if one of those tubes don't work. I do have some tubes on hand that I might be able to replace any of these if they're bad. If the eye's bad, I do have a couple of eye tubes that I could put in here that I know work. One of them's in my Heathkit capacitor tester right up here. I could slap in there. Um, and I've got a couple more as well. So unless the transformer is shorted or open or bad, something, we should be able to get this thing up and running, and then we can see how it works. I don't use one of these because I kind of rigged up my own. But what I thought about this is I've never done a lot in the way of RF stuff, radios and stuff like that. I've always done audio gear, guitar amplifiers, PA equipment, stuff like that. So I never needed anything with a high gain and an RF modulator or anything like that. So the reason I got this is because I'm starting to do some radio work now, and I thought this would be handy to get in there to the RF side of things. Another thing is I like this watt meter thing, and also you can use this as an output transformer as well with B plus, so you can test speakers and all kinds of stuff using these terminals and stuff over here. So that's a good thing. And then the noise thing, you can like introduce noise into components and see if they're bad. In Mr. Carlson's video, he actually introduces noise into a carbon comp resistor, and you can hear it. I mean, it's just bad. It's just a bad all the way around. It's very audible, and you can see it too with the eye tube. There's a few things about this that I don't like, and Mr. Carlson actually mentioned some of these. Like when you put it, like right now, if I was to plug this in, this B plus would have B plus right here on this terminal. So if I got back here and touched this, there's only a little insulator between that metal piece and the, you could you could zap yourself pretty good right there. Also, when you go into noise mode, it puts that B plus on the tip of this audio probe. That's the noise that it introduces. So you have to be careful of that as well. But hopefully we can get this thing restored. It's definitely not in the condition that the one Mr. Carlson has. It's definitely not in the condition that I've seen others like it. But I think we can make it work. So that's the Heathkit T3. Tell me what you think in the comments below. What would you do to it if you had this thing? What kind of modifications would you make? And what have you seen on these things that I may not know about and I need to know about? Or some things that you've done to them that you've had success in? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.